Discipline equals freedom. Discipline. I've been thinking about discipline lately. I think it's a crucial thing because, I think about why don't people reach their goals? Why don't New Year's resolutions work? Why do they always fail? Why don't people lose weight? And, the more and more I think about it, I think the key thing to success, the key thing to getting what you want in life is discipline. We're in that season, or at least a couple months ago, there was those graduations happening, and you always see these graduation speeches that come out on YouTube and whatnot, or these speeches from years past from people like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk or somebody, and I thought if I was doing a graduation speech, what would I talk about? What wisdom would I want to share with the kids? And I thought, it really comes down to you're trying to teach people how to be successful. What does it take to be successful? And I think the number one thing is discipline. If I had kids, I'd say I'd try to teach them discipline, although it's not always an easy thing to do. But when it comes to like losing weight, we know how to lose weight, and it's exercise. Don't eat sugar. Don't eat junk. But people don't have the discipline to do it. How do you get that job promotion? Work hard, get the job done, be on time. Again, do you have the discipline to do that? And it's interesting to me because a lot of times we only have discipline because somebody else enforces that onto us, like our parents when we're younger. Go to bed, brush your teeth, eat your veggies, that kind of stuff. And I think a key point in your life is when you leave the home, and let's say you go to college. All of a sudden you don't have that parental figure instilling the discipline. Now it's got to be internal. And that to me is kind of a big moment in life because some people have it and some don't, right? Some kids go to college and it's woohoo, party and drink and chase women and all that. And they get terrible grades and, who knows where life takes them from there. But a lot of times it's a downward spiral. And then there's other kids who, get the job done. They study hard to get good grades. They can still have fun, but they have the discipline to kind of manage both. And I think that carries on throughout life where, like I look at myself, like I'm not losing as much weight as I should because I have to discipline myself. And I think that's the hardest thing to do is when you don't have a boss or a parent forcing discipline upon you, you got to just do it to yourself. And so often we fail at that. And it's not always easy, to have that discipline to exercise every day, to have that discipline to say no to certain foods, to have that discipline to just, do what you need to do to reach your goal, whatever that may be. I don't know. What would you tell your kids? What's important that you instill in them?
Well, my kids are perfect, so
Well, that's true. Well, you did a good job.
no. I think discipline is something it's learned. It's definitely learned early in life, and it's instilled. From parents, from friends, family, whoever is raising kids. If we're talking about raising kids, in terms of as you get older and having discipline in exercise or diet or just in reading or whatever hobby that you want to get into. A lot of it's about making a plan, right? Having an action plan that is attainable and that you can continuously do. I know from my perspective with the things that I do, the exercise and the music and things that I do, that I have a plan to that. I try to do certain things every week, and I make time for that in my schedule. But yeah, raising kids, that's a daily challenge, and hopefully at the end of your parenting, when they go off to college and go on their own, that the habits that you've instilled stay with them and don't they don't have to learn that for themselves. So yeah.
Yeah, I think some people just naturally have it.
Sorry, I have a cat. You want me
But
to
a lot of times, there you go. Cat discipline. Well, some people I think were just born with discipline, but fortunately, I think it's something you can learn or it's instilled in you Having parents who set boundaries is a biggie. I think also things like sports are big for that, because sports are huge on discipline. It's like, you got to be, at practice at 1 p.m. If you're a minute late, you're going to get grief from the coach, right? You got to do the play
Push-ups.
a certain way. You're going to get grief from the coach, right? So I think sports, people who've played sports tend to have that discipline. It was
Hmm.
just beating it to them by their,
Right.
their tough coaches. Military too. You go through military, same thing. It's got to do everything in a certain way, and there's no room for slackers in the military.
Yes, it's
Uh,
instilled. Yeah.
yeah,
As long as it's instilled properly, you don't have,
yeah.
some coach that, is real heavy-handed, or even parents that are real heavy-handed and actually create more problems than they solve.
But again, I just go back to success, and you look at successful people, and they tend to be very organized and very disciplined. I see like this, he's always at the gym at 5 a.m. kind of thing. Something like Kobe Bryant is, he's always there at 5 a.m. You can't get to the gym before him. The Olympics are starting, and I remember reading about Michael Phelps, the swimmer, and he would literally, I mean, he's retired now, but when he was in the middle of his Olympic journey, he would literally train every day. And I mean every day, every Sunday, every holiday, Christmas, his birthday. And we're talking, 4 or 5, 6 hours a day of training. That's some simple thing. And I remember somebody asking him, like, why do you train on Sunday? Nobody else does. And he's like, well, those Sundays give me an extra 52 days of training a year over my competitor. That gives me that edge. And that's why I win, especially in something like swimming where you win by like a thousandth of a second kind of thing. So, um, but you see it across the spectrum, and not just sports. You see it in business. You don't see this super successful CEO who straggles into work at 10:30 and goofs off for a few hours and you know plays on the internet for a few hours. You don't hear a story like that. You hear about the CEO gets in at 6 a.m. and is very organized and has a very organized schedule, and it goes on and on and on. And yeah, every now and then you'll see some kind of slacker guy who is successful, but that's a rare thing. But it's usually just having that discipline, having that focus. Um, also, a few months ago, I saw this documentary on the band the Eagles,
Oh, really?
and hmm,
Oh,
it was very fascinating for a lot of reasons. It's a typical band documentary with guys fighting and all that, but they were talking about the early part of their career, and Glenn Fry. Before they became famous and they were the Eagles, they were backup singers for other people. Like Glenn Fry was a backup singer for Bob Seger and Linda Ronstadt. And two things stood out to me. When he was working for Bob Seger, he went up to Bob Seger and said, hey, I want to write songs like you do. I want to write hits. What's the secret? What's the magic? And Bob Seger just says, well, you just got to write a lot. You got to just do it. You got to just sit down every day and write songs. And Glenn Fry goes, well, yeah, but what if they suck? And Bob Seger says, well, they will. They're going to suck. He goes, but you just keep writing. He goes, and eventually a few gold nuggets drop out, and, that's your success right there. You got to just sit down and do it. And then, interestingly, shortly after that, him and Don Henley, the other guy in the Eagles, they got an apartment above Jackson Brown, the singer Jackson Brown. And Jackson Brown was a little more established, had some hits. And they said it was funny because every day around 9 a.m., they'd hear Jackson Brown get up, make a pot of tea because they could hear the thing whistling. And then they'd hear him like 5 minutes later noodling around on the piano every day. And again, they kind of realized there was no magic necessarily in writing songs. It was he just got up every day and just had this discipline or habit, whatever you want to call it, of just getting up every day and just writing, just playing and practicing and writing and just letting the creative juices flow. But it wasn't like, oh, he sat around waiting for some golden inspiration to just hit him from above. yeah, it was just doing it day in, day out, just grinding, 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 and eventually, again, a gold nugget comes out. So
Well, that gets into the whole concept of competitive advantage, right? So Phelps, Eagles, and somebody that wants to be a CEO by the time they're 35, and they're just going to work day and night to get there and be the first person in the door and the last person out. That's good and that's bad. I mean, it kind of depends on if you're that type of person, if you could be successful doing that, or that becomes, um, kind of a negative in your life, and that you don't have other things going on besides just that one thing. But I think for the average person, just having a plan, just coming up with a plan for diet or exercise or some other hobby, rather than just letting it happen naturally, like you were talking what you're doing. Um, that's the key. That's the key to everything. Key to life. Without a plan, it's hard to make positive steps. So
yeah, I mean, you got to have a plan, you got to have a direction, you got to have a good idea to work off of. Yeah, I mean, because you know, obviously, if Jeff Bezos had a bad idea for a business, it doesn't matter how disciplined he is and how hard he works. If it's a bad idea, then the business just isn't going to work. So, and yeah, a plan gives you direction. So you got to have some direction of where am I going with this. So there, by all means, I'm not saying discipline is the only factor in success. There's a lot to success. There's hard work. There's persistence. A little bit of luck, even, and you throw them all together, and you got success. But I tell you, if there's one thing I wanted to latch onto is just discipline. Just can you do the work? A lot of people have a plan in their head, and they just never do it.
yeah, it's true.
So
Yeah, need a plan, needed to do it.
and I look back at my life and I go, I've had that both ways. There's times I had a plan and I went after it and I had the discipline and I did it. I went to college and I graduated, got good grades, I did it. And then there's other things where like I had a plan and kind of did it, kind of didn't do it. Piano's a good example. Um, I've noodled around on piano over the years and never really got very far because I just didn't stick with it. I didn't have the discipline. I'd have discipline maybe for a few months and practice a lot, and then I'd kind of stop practicing, and then I'd stop doing the sessions, and it'd fade away. So the discipline wasn't there.
Well, you also
Um,
need a target too. I mean,
Need
if
a
you, if
target,
you had
yeah.
a target to do something with it, then like you had a target for going to college because you wanted to get a degree,
Well,
and what you've done professionally, but there wasn't that clear target for music. There may not be a clear target for somebody doing a diet. They don't, or getting in shape or whatever. They don't have a clear target. They just have a plan without a goal. So really, you could almost talk about the plan versus the goal and how the goal needs to be attainable, and maybe
yeah.
that goal has to have steps to it in order to get there, and then the discipline
Hmm.
to follow through on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, in one of our videos, you talked about the 10,000 hours, right? That's
Hmm.
the 10,000 hours. I don't know. I've never done 10,000 hours of anything, but well, maybe. But then you have to get into what's your capability, right? You could do 10,000 hours of everything, and you may not necessarily reach the goal that you have in mind if you want to be
Hmm.
a concert violinist. So the goal has to be attainable and within your abilities. But
Yeah, I'm kind of in the middle. There's people who are like, you can do anything you want if you put your mind to it. I don't know if that's necessarily true. Just because I put 10,000 hours into playing basketball doesn't mean I'm going to play in the NBA.
right.
You have to have sometimes a certain level of raw talent to build off of.
Mm-hmm.
But on the flip side, I think you can be a lot better at just about anything than you currently are,
Mm-hmm.
um, if you put in the work. So by all means, if I did 10,000 hours of piano, I'm going to be a heck of a lot better at piano than I am today. Now, will I be good enough to be a professional and make money off of it? I don't know.
Right, so that's where your goal comes in. Do you want to be a professional pianist, or do you just want to be able to play with some friends or
Yeah.
whatever? Yeah. Do I want to run a marathon in under 3 hours? Absolutely. Am I going to?
Yeah.
Nope. but I'll get better. Hopefully, I'm better this year than I was last year, and so forth and so
Yeah.
on. Or at least, as I get older, maintain a certain speed, distance, and time.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
All right,
Well,
man.
I'm going to go out for a run.
Yeah.
See ya.
I hope you have the discipline to do that.
I do.
See ya.